For the month of March, first of all, as I have told you guys in the past, Aquarius has moved to not Aquarius, Saturn rather, have moved to the sign of Aquarius on January 17, 2023. Saturn then will be affecting US chart at 7 degree of Aquarius, and similarly it will affect America's president, Mr. Biden. And then Mars in Gemini will be at 1 degree in the chart of president of China also. So I suspect that it will increase the tensions between USA and China. Saturn for India will be in its 10th house in Aquarius sign, which is actually good for India, and that's a good news. In what ways is good? It's going to give us a slow and steady rise in the economy and things like that for the next 2.5 years. Okay, so for example, Jupiter is almost completing its transit through this nakshatra, and in the 3rd week of April, it will be entering in the sign of Aries. That is a big change. So many astrological factors indicate that there will be a lot of issues of concern about airspace. Anything can happen up in the skies. Be careful if you're planning to travel. Now, I'm not saying you cannot travel. I'm saying just take the proper planning and, be on the outlook, take care of your stuff. What is going to happen is going to happen no matter what. You will just have to take precaution, especially through March 12 and April 5. Since Venus is transiting with Rahu. Now, I always take the other planets, like Uranus is one of them, which will be, and the Uranus and Rahu have been together in Aries since March of 2022 and will be together until the end of November. So expect the unexpected, like earthquakes, aircraft problems, something in the air, mishaps in the sky, and like even the UFOs are quite a possibility. Natural calamities, but that's all is on the horizon. So expect some very impactful events and problems that can be taking place on planet Earth. So why all this is happening? Simply answering, nature will create the events so that, and we will be disturbed, we will be upset, and we will be looking for the answers. As a result, this atmosphere will want us to look within ourselves. We want to find tranquility through meditation, yogas, and that is the reason that all this is happening. So I want particularly, my attention got pulled on the day of March 7. Because on that day there's a full moon having a Leo rising sign in the nakshatra of Purva Falguni, a very creative kind of nakshatra. March 21st, there will be full moon in Pisces. Preview of the next month's can be seen from this date. So this will be setting the tone for the rest of the year. This year we will see a lot of turmoil, which eventually will bring us together and offer better hope of solutions from USA's conflict with the rest of the world. Including like USA, for example, may have been having issues with the border countries, and all will be, or it could be conflicts with China and Russia, etc. Like I have been talking about last few months, Mars have been going back and forth, being retrograde, then straight. Finally, on March 12th, Mars will leave Taurus to enter Gemini, and that is going to be very good. That's a good news. We are going to out of that extreme violent nature in a bad way. Now, but that's the relief. But then from March 14 through March 17, Mars will be 1 degree of Gemini which is a sign of communications, media, intelligence, businesses, computers, all kinds of things that's represented by this sign. And it will be aspecting Mercury, Sun, and Neptune, and Jupiter. Wow, that's a lot. So that indicates that the hi-fi political leaders around the world will now no longer will be able to just hide somewhere. They will have to come out and face the music and do something about problems of the world. Now that is about things of that affects Mars and stuff like that. Now, I have a concern about earthquakes, like I mentioned earlier about Uranus. Okay. Now, remember the Turkey earthquakes, for example, February 2nd, 2023, there were some issues with the sun marking very eventful activities on planet Earth, because you all know February 6th, there was earthquake in Turkey and Syria, leading to massive death and destruction. And it was full moon on February 5th, right before the earthquake of February 6th. So keeping all this in mind, I am leaning to believe that there will be possibility of earthquakes all the way into second week of April 2023. So let's see, first of all, how do we predict earthquakes? One of the things we notice, if big planets like Rahu, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, they transit in the sign of in the sign of Taurus, we expect this kind of activity. That's one clue. Okay. So the another clue is if these planets go into the air signs and have relationship somehow with Mercury, which represents air storms also, then earthquake with stormy weather will be seen. Now, if these combinations happen in Kendra and Trikona houses, and moon eclipse or sun eclipse, for example, can activate this kind of stuff. For example, sun or moon eclipse, and if it's a full moon or a new moon, or they all add up the possibility of the bigger earthquakes. Okay, so again, my attention is towards the March 7, 2023. It's a full moon when Leo is rising. Sun in Purva Bhadra Nakshatra and Moon in Purva Falguni Nakshatra, both will be at 22 degrees and 29 minutes. So Sun and Saturn along with Mercury are both in air sign of Taurus, and these planets are in Kendra. So and then we have Jupiter and Venus are also in the 8th house of destruction, death and destruction. And 8th house also represents earthquakes. So all of these points are adding up and tells me that March 7th and a day plus or minus indicates the big earthquake on that day. So where will be those earthquakes? I am thinking, believing that Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, China, and few places in Himachal Pradesh are on the radar to be hit by these earthquakes. And the northeast parts of India may see earthquakes like in Sikkim, Meghalaya, West Bengal, Nepal, Manipur, and many more areas are also on my red list. I also suspect Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan also have a chance of being hit by these strong earthquakes. In Haryana, I think I can pinpoint that maybe around Hisar or Panipat, we can see the big possibility of the bigger earthquake. Now, I wish politicians can be informed that East New Delhi particularly need to be watchful from earthquake activity also. Nepal and Bhutan may also see earthquakes activity. It will be around 7 on the Richter scale. but the duration of these earthquakes, so don't be panicking, please, because even though they're on a high Richter scale, because they're not going to be long earthquakes, they're very few seconds, like just shake and stop, and then shake and stop. So yes, that's the so that's why I'm not suspecting too much destruction, because other planetary conditions, like I said earlier, seems to be indicating India to be on a better side, even if those earthquakes come. Now, so the last but not the least, I want to say that planetary conditions indicate that there is a good possibility of terrorism in India. Also, I see that theme throughout the year, probably. So I'm sorry for all the bad news. So with the earthquakes, please, I want to remind everybody that please remember to have supplies for emergencies, like a lot of water, drinkable water. Other water for your other, like doing dishes water, toilet water, for those needs. Have enough water supplies. Band-Aid, have it. And non-perishable foods are very important, because for a few days when there is no electricity, no gas, you will need to survive. You will survive. Those who are destined to die, nothing can be done, but many people can survive the earthquakes. Okay, so have enough non-perishable food supplies, band-aids, and if possible, portable cooking stoves. Like, in the olden time, they had in India, I think they had kerosene stoves. They run without any electricity and gas. Those are a good one to have around. With that, I'm going to stop this video and wish you all the best of luck